Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to drill the perfect backswing. So I expect the majority of you have been spending a lot of time working on your backswing in your golf life. I think it's one of the things the majority of instructors also concentrate on, and with good reason, because in a lot of cases if you're not in a good position here at the top of your golf swing, it's going to be very difficult to get back to the golf ball correctly. I know there are exceptions to the rule. If you look at a Jim Furyk or even a Sergio Garcia, they're not really in perfect positions at the top of their golf swing, but they seem to find a way back to the golf ball. But if you're not quite as talented as these two guys and you can't practice every day of the week, the simpler you can make your backswing, the easier it is to get back to the golf ball in the right position at impact. So what I thought is I'll give you a few tips today about how you can basically drill this into your swing and try and get a feeling for exactly how you should be taking the club back and what body parts are actually responsible for getting it into the right position at the top of the swing. The very first thing is maybe again to understand exactly what we're trying to do here. If you look at my address position down the line, you can actually see I've put a stick in the ground which basically covers the shaft, and this is what we would call the shaft plane. And what I'm basically trying to do is to swing the club up and keep it parallel to that original plane. So you can actually see at the top of my swing, my lead arm is basically parallel to the original shaft plane. And as I take the club back, the club is basically being taken on the plane up, and as I hinge and the wrists and the elbows, the arm lift the club and the club comes up to a point again parallel to the shaft plane, and depending on then how much mobility you have, you'll be able to take it back and over the shoulder, even to the point where eventually you're almost parallel to the ground at the top of the swing. But you can hear even for me that gets a little bit tight then when I'm getting to that kind of a length of backswing. The big trick then is drilling that so that it actually works correctly. And you've got to start with your body. That means as you take in your backswing, your shoulders have got to lead this process. And that means first of all getting into the right spine angle, which is going to be around about kind of 100 degrees to this plane. And then getting your shoulders down, or the lead shoulder down and the trail shoulder up. And that you're doing by using the oblique muscles and the chest muscles, contracting them to start the backswing, which will pull the shoulder down into the middle and will also create this angle in the shoulders similar to the angle that we had with the shaft when it's on the ground. So when I take the address position and then turn the shoulders are turning in this plane, which would then consequently say they're going to pull the arms up and around this plane if the arms let them. And that's really one of the first things you've got to do, is keep the arms to begin passive. So the first drill you want to be doing is basically just the first half a yard or yard away from the ball, which is basically allowing the muscles in the stomach to contract, allowing the lead shoulder to come down, but keeping your hips and legs pretty quiet when you're doing it. And that will restrict the distance that you can actually move. And in this distance, you don't really want to be doing anything with your arms and hands at all. It's very easy to start with the hands, to pick the club up, to use the arms, simply because you're not moving as much weight and they've got the power to do that with no problem. It's more difficult to actually get your body to start the backswing, especially if your legs are resisting and your upper body is starting. So getting the hands, or the hands to stay quiet, and getting your upper body to start the backswing will just help you to start the club basically on plane. And you can see by putting a stick in the ground which is on the target line and then starting the backswing this way, I can actually feel that the club is just basically being pulled sideways, and from the down the line view you can see the club simply moving towards the camera and staying slightly above this kind of original plane line. As I get to this position, however, the next drill comes in, and this is basically where we've been talking about going into this kind of waiter position. So as the hip hip starts to turn and the lead hip will be pulled out here, I have the feeling of lifting the club up with the right arm, bending the trail arm, the trail elbow and the trail wrist back, and bringing them up to around about shoulder height. As I do that, obviously that would pick up the golf club. In order to get the radius of the backswing correct, however, the lead arm is going to stay straight and be pulled up with it. So as the arm goes up, the trail arm, so does the lead arm. And the lead arm is basically moving up around the shoulder joint. And this is why at the top of the golf swing, the shoulder joint will actually lift up almost to the chin. So it won't look, if you look over the top of the shoulders, as if you still have this kind of parallel line between the shoulders and the shaft plane. However, if you were to take it underneath the armpit of the lead arm, you'll actually see that you've got those lines back in and the shoulders are indeed actually pulling the arms up on the right plane. So the second drill, once you actually find to get it here, is to get these two arms working together. You are lifting with both arms and you are folding the trail arm and wrist is tilting back. And that is what's pulling the club across the chest and up over the trail shoulder. And again, you don't want to be forcing it around. If your body is telling you that's as far as it goes here, then listen to it and stop there. But as long as you're staying on this plane, then the way back to the golf ball is going to be pretty simple, or as simple as it gets in this strange game. So again, I'm starting drill number 1 and then going into drill number 2, which is basically allowing the trail or the lead hip to come out and the arms to lift the club up into the end position. So if you were looking into a mirror here, you would be able to see your hands up over your trail shoulder and the feeling of the lead arm basically also getting a parallel line to the original shaft plane. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And it's all about repetition. Don't forget that to learn anything in this game, you're looking at around about 1,800 repetitions over 6 to 8 weeks. That's like 30 a day. But you really don't have to be hitting golf balls when you're doing it. You need a golf club in your hand because you need the weight. You've got to be able to feel the work that your arms are doing to get the club up, the work that your stomach muscles are doing to move it away from the ball. A lot of people, when they're practicing their backswing, do it in a kind of a swing up, down, up, down. That's making life too easy. You can't do that. You've got to start from a neutral position, even better with a ball on the ground, and start that. That is not an easy movement to make. Keeping your arms passive and getting your chest and your shoulder to actually move in the correct angle from the ball. But you'll feel how that just pushes the club over to the side. And when it gets a roundabout over the trail thigh, that's when the arms become active. As the lead hip swings out, the arms go up, and it's almost like picking it up. But because the trail hand is pulling back, it's actually pulling also the lead arm back across your chest, and you're getting to this lovely position at the top of the backswing where you've got the club virtually on the original plane. Go into the downswing, pull it down, and you're going to be back on the golf ball with no real hard work. Getting into this position and drilling this position is really one of the keys to getting a repetitive golf swing the same way back every time, and you can get the same feeling even when you're dealing with longer clubs like the driver. The difference is you're starting with a more upright spine angle and a flatter shaft plane, but the feeling's going to be more or less the same. Hope this helps you. If it does, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. The little bell will give you notifications the next time I post a video, and I'll leave my philosophy on golf up here in the left corner. If you want to click on that, it'll give you some nighttime reading. You're coming into a time of year now where it's great to do a lot of drills and try and drill these things into your golf swing for the next season. We're already thinking about that now. I won't be long before I'm back with you again. Look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye now.